won't profess to be an expert of global affairs. In fact, I often shy away from being too vocal about certain topics. Personally, I'm not sure that I have the qualification at times or even enough information available to properly discuss these topics. And I tend to believe that in order to discuss a topic and present truth, one should have a firm grasp on facts, be removed from emotional responses, and have the ability to communicate a position clearly and with class. With that being said, I do have an important topic that I felt like needed to be discussed. There are two world events that I wanted to discuss in a way that I personally feel like hasn't been presented to date. We've got Ottawa and the Freedom Convoy and the current situation in Ukraine. And at first glance, it might seem like our world is imploding, and it might seem like it's crumbling by the day. Or is it? Is it what we see or what we're being told to believe? And hear me out before you just dismiss me as a conspiracy theorist. I'm a small business owner who has a business that survived the shutdowns, largely because we disobeyed unjust orders. I saw the last 2 years through the lens of a person fighting to keep a dream alive and to take care of a team during some of the hardest years that business owners have ever seen. This topic is near and dear to me, and what I saw over the last 2 years was unprecedented. Never before in history have we seen such an abrupt shift in power and communication. And all major media had us gripped and obsessed with the pandemic, and through that manufactured crisis, the media did what it does. It sensationalized the topic on all sides and made it impossible for us to actually find the truth. Well, I should say that the truth was possible to find, but they immediately suppressed anybody who dared ask the questions. We saw captions added to posts. We saw fact checkers and social media companies removing or censoring anybody who even dared have a different opinion. If you came to a logical conclusion that masks didn't protect anybody, people claimed that you wanted to kill their grandmother. If you are hesitant about an experimental drug, one in which the results won't be public for 70 years, you are an anti-vaxxer or a science denier. The truth is, we just wanted the truth. We simply wanted the truth. I have been very critical of all media for years, and the last 2 years has made one thing clear. Media exists to sell advertisement space. Advertisement space requires eyeballs to be a value exchange. In other words, companies will not pay for ad space unless people are watching. What is the best method to keep people watching? Fear, anxiety, misinformation, and sensationalized stories and news. I use the term news loosely. Media suppressed therapeutic treatments. They hid the truth. They lied. They were hypocrites who held us peasants down while they attended luxurious parties with their fellow elitists laughing at those of us who suffered. Think of all the advertisements stating facts about the last 2 years. We preached loudly that they lied, yet we were silenced. Real people suffered because politicians and media entities saw an unprecedented opportunity to shift power away from small business and individuals to big government and entities. They kept the people compliant through fear and money printing. And in the moment, people felt like they were taken care of. Then there's the current inflation and material shortages. Do you honestly believe that the Jeff Bezoses of the world are hurting, or the political elites hurting? While they ruled us as peasants, their stock portfolios rapidly expanded and their net worth skyrocketed. I, a small business owner, had to constantly fight to pay our team, grow our business. I know plenty of businesses who did not make it. They listened to the government, they listened to the media, and they lost it all. Suicides, business closures, jobs lost, money inflated, and people who wrongly died because they were denied pre-hospital treatments. Who is complicit and who is responsible? And there's two groups. One, I think we are, because we took the comfortable road. We stayed compliant, we stayed obedient. We could have simply said no, and it all would have ended immediately. And the second group that I feel is responsible is the media and politicians or anyone who towed the line, spoke from the script, and preached the lies that they pushed for the last 2 years. 2 years of your life that you will not get back. Let that sink in for a minute. People are waking up in the midst of the last 2 years. Finally, people were calling for accountability. Now, I stated recently on my personal Instagram page, my personal opinion is speedy trials and short robes. These elitists knowingly lied to us, which led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people. They raped and pillaged us knowing that they would get wealthier and we would ultimately suffer. Understand what I'm saying. They knowingly presented information that killed your family members, that crippled others, and drove depression and suicide and murdered small business. There are people responsible for this fact. And now we focus on Ukraine. What a convenient turn of events. Right as the CDC releases some information on the pandemic, they remove the mask mandates, and they state that they're only going to release some of the information because if they release it all, it would be misinterpreted. They know the lies and the accountability that should be coming, yet they divert. At a time when Americans demand accountability, they bring in the next fear-driven propaganda topic to keep us reliant and compliant on them for solutions. What are we doing? What are you doing? Can we honestly be this ignorant of reality? Are we really this mentally deficient? Please answer this for me. Can we honestly be this dependent on media and politicians in our lives? I stated at the beginning of the video, I don't feel qualified to dissect Ukraine and Russia. I do feel qualified through the experiences of the past 2 years to remind people that the news that they are consuming about Russia and Ukraine is doing two things. One, it's supporting the exact entities that raped and pillaged all of us for 2 years. And two, it further distracts us from the accountability that we should be demanding of these individuals. From the news anchor to the political elites, accountability should be demanded in our nation. But we enter the next war era brought onto us by those who think of us as nothing more than tax-generating cattle. This media coverage and sensational reporting should infuriate us. This is my only objective. Consider the sources you consume on all sides of the proverbial aisle. What are their motivations? And what do you gain from listening to them? Look, I'm not saying we don't pay attention, but I am saying that you should be highly, highly critical of anything that our media puts out. Our media has proven itself to be evil, full of vile people who will happily lie and present false or unverified information that will kill you or your family. They despise our values, they despise our history, they despise our republic, and they will watch us all die without even blinking. As Mashtere has said on his page, media is the most effective devil in America. I see people asking, how can I help Ukraine? You didn't even help yourself. You stood silently while our government demanded us to stay home, while they closed our businesses, services, schools, and demanded that we obey and not even question their actions. You knew better while your loved ones suffered, but you didn't fight. Put a mask on your face daily like the obedient slave they wanted you to be. You got in line for your medicine, and look, I understand the fear at first. I was there. I 100% get it. The first couple months, I understand the fear in all of the situation, but 2 months into the agenda, it was very clear. I made a post in spring, summer of 2020 of me burning a mask in protest, and this was the first time I ever made a post that led to actual death threats. Think about that for a minute. People so emotionally addicted to the propaganda that they would wish death on those who disagree. What a sad state of affairs we find ourselves in. And if we truly valued freedom, why did so many dismiss the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa? Does the US actually believe in sovereignty and liberty? Or is that just a convenient slogan we use when we want to pillage a foreign land? Don't mistake what I'm saying. Americans want to help in Ukraine, which I think is a noble idea. But where were you in 2020 here? Where were you when you could have changed the tide and refused to obey? It cost nothing here. You had an opportunity to stand when they said, close your business. We stood. We defied the order. When they said we fell under the vaccine mandate, my company refused. We stood on the moral high ground and accepted the terms. Now I still stand ready to fight for what is right. I'm concerned for our nation because I believe that we are no longer in the moral standing to even have a say in much of what goes on in the world. We are still an amazing nation that was built in a way that no other nation has ever been built. And I respect what we are built on, and I love the story, both bad and good, that is the United States. Contrary to our foundation, we have politicians that inflate our money, destroy our economy, lie to us, and a media machine that enables and encourages them. What a travesty of our republic we have become. Both parties are guilty of this treason. And I stand firm in my belief that we should be focused and consistent, and our message should simply be, we demand accountability. Learn from the world, pay attention to what's happening, but don't buy into or participate in this propaganda scheme. Question everything, and what is spoken, assume it to be false until it's proven. We have historical precedents set over the last 2 years that blind following of media will be the death of our nation. And I'll be the first to admit that I don't know all the steps forward, but I do know this. I will continue to build a team and a community committed first and foremost to legitimate freedom and liberty. We're not going to bow down to tyrants, and we're not going to be pushed by fear. We will see the world for what it is, full of broken people. And we know that truth is always revealed, and it's our duty to hold those who lie and steal from us accountable. For the sake of the Republic and this nation, please hear what I'm saying. And one last piece of encouragement in this video. You have the power to change the tide, and we have the power to demand and obtain justice. Simply takes refusal to obey unjust orders and a desire and commitment to accountability for everybody responsible for the last 2 years.